Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on board.
Sir, I've lately I've heard, I connected with you through LinkedIn, but I had
Mhm.
heard about you from the college I'm pursuing. Currently studying in Thapad University, so I'm currently in LMTSM right now, in my final year.
I I hope you
Right,
heard good things about.
right, sir. Nice things only. So, sir, starting off, you were a student of physics in bachelor's.
Mhm.
Then you started off with a management degree that
Mhm.
you went in for PGP diploma. So how did this shift happen, first of all?
Uh, Two things especially. One of it was my father's insistence. He said that if you know what you want to do in life long run, no matter where you go in midterm, you will end up reaching the
Right,
place where you want to. And I had a very good affection with mathematics when I was about to pursue my bachelor's, and that's why I went for the physics thing. And then I moved on to the management part. One reason was a few of my friends were preparing for CAT, and that drove my interest into it. And then I found the whole thing very interesting after reading some biographies and all.
right. So after the management education, you shifted into the education sector. You were teaching in RIMT, then you came to LMTSM. So
Mhm.
how did this shift happen? How did your passion of teaching happen after the
Uh,
management?
sure, sure. Anmol, I come from a family of educationists, and my first job was with Time Private Limited, the CAT coaching guys.
Right, sir.
So I joined their head office and was in business development. And therein I got a chance to go and teach for their CAT aspirants, and that's where the whole thing started off.
Right,
And from there, I started moving into teaching. That's what always wanted to be a teacher.
right, sir.
That's when it started. And then my father runs a kindergarten school. You can see the background, you can make out from it. And I always
Oh,
wanted to come back and do something with it. And when I was at time, I was into the kindergarten division only. I was
right.
helping them open kindergarten schools. So one day I went to a school for a normal Reiki. I mean, you do the competitive analysis. You go to competitors and find out what they're
Right.
up to. And there I had that moment when I was sitting on the other side of the table. I realized that someone might be coming to my father's school also doing the same thing. Maybe I'm doing something fundamentally wrong.
Right.
That's when I quit my job and came back to Patiala. And that's when I started moving into teaching full time to get more skilled, get more patience, and get more method oriented.
Right. So you had a very, when I'd say that you were into teaching, you were into education, you had a very settled career in front of you. Like we are seeing that the system has changed, people have been losing their jobs, there have been
Mhm.
pay cuts, and there have been a lot of job losses around the world. If we come into counting these, we can't even
It would be
imagine the
much,
amount of loss that has been
much.
happening. But when it comes to people like you, when I see that this was your personal decision of leaving a settled career and starting things of your own, going for your
Mhm.
passion. So how did mojo of things happen? Because what I read was you were still in teaching when you had started it. It was a year and a
Uh,
half before. So how did this happen? What was the inspiration behind starting off your own venture?
Uh, Mojo Small Things started when I was in your phase. I was in my post graduation. That's when it started. And then
Okay,
it went off for quite a long time. I started paying attention, stopped paying attention to it. And then suddenly it was resurrected. It was so Mojo Small Things phase 2.0 that
right,
you have heard about. And first thing that I personally believe, first thing is that there are no stable jobs nowadays. There are no
right,
stable jobs because everything is changing very fast. So if you're not upskilling yourself, you're not safe no matter wherever you are. And second thing, since I wanted to be a teacher, I was a good teacher, and I worked very hard for it. It's not that I was a good teacher as well, but I worked very hard for it. And second thing was my focus was I wanted to be someone who I needed when I was young. So when
right,
I was also warden at the LMT hostel. So I had a very good bonhomie with all the kids because I knew that they were away from home and they needed someone very close to them. But one thing that I really sucked at was the research part of it, to be very candid. So I
Right.
was doing very bad because there was no time left after doing all this stuff.
Right.
And over a period of time, I lost my vibe. That's why most of small things was taking more time. And when the time was right, when I knew that most of small things needs my full attention, then I left the job because I personally feel that there is nothing called part time. If
Right.
if it's a call of passion, either you do it full time or you don't do it. Don't do it at
Right.
all.
So I just like to know one thing from you, that what is the story behind this name, Mojo of Small Things? Because I know about your content. I know you talk about life and habits and changing yourself and the stories behind it. I'd just like to know what was the story behind this name, because the name really amuses me or amuses everybody who I tell to, that just go on and read that article. And they're like, what a
Uh,
pretty name it is.
Mojo means magic. So my grandfather had planted a mango tree when we were very young, and so when he was very old, he was sitting under the mango tree, and I was sitting along with him. Then
Right.
suddenly one mango dropped in his lap, and he just cleaned it with his clothes and started eating it at that time. He was very old. He was very
Okay
old,
then.
and that's when he said that uh, the magic lies in the small things.
Oh,
And he said, nothing can beat this mango which I had planted for all of you, falling in my lap and me having it right now with all of you. This is magical. Nothing can beat that. And that's when the whole thing, the mojo of small things came into being, that the magic lies in small things. We end up chasing all the big things. I want that big car, I want that big home. But no one is bothered about the kind of life you're leading throughout the day. I
right.
mean, the kind of sleep you're having, the kind of interaction you're having, the kind of love that you have in life, the kind of work that you're doing. No one bothers about that. Everyone wants to talk about the outcome that they're having. So that leads to very much distress in people nowadays. Everyone's like, oh, so when you talk to someone, they're like, oh, so what do you do for a living? How much money do you make? How much are you going offshore? Are you going to US? Are you working in an MNC? That's what they ask. They don't ask you, are you happy? Are you doing
Right.
work which makes you happy? Are you making this world a better place? Are you working on yourself? Are you becoming better? Are you better than what you were last year? No one asks about that. So that's
Right.
why most of small things took a very
Right.
centerpiece in my life.
So talking about the ranging type of content you have on Mojo of Small Things, it talks
Mhm.
about productivity, it talks about life, it talks about corporate life. So where
Mhm.
does this knowledge come from in the back end? Are you an avid reader that you get this knowledge, or these are the personal experiences that you're getting into
One thing,
paper?
you cannot write if you are not reading. That is one thing. And second thing is the mojo of small things. Every article, every word is tested,
Right.
self-tested. So that's why there is so less frequency. So when I say that, oh, 6 things that kill your productivity, it
Right.
the content is ready in 1 or 2 days, but the testing took me 21 days, 30 days. So once I was very sure that, oh, this works, only then it went on the website. So it comes from, the ideas come from books and
Right.
reading about the stuff, but then I test it before I put it online.
Right. So I'd like to know from you that the entrepreneurship phase of your life,
Mhm.
or the teaching, or I'd say that in the portion where you were actually working for somebody else.
There is nothing better than claiming your own life. Nothing better than that. It may take long time for you. It may take a lot of work for you, but then nothing is better than working for yourself and being accountable to yourself as compared to when you work for someone else. Because if you work for someone else, you are part of their plan, and what your future depends upon what they want you to accomplish. Mostly, if you don't want to have any friction, but the friction happens. So the entrepreneurship part has been very liberating, and it has been. I mean, I have been able to sleep better, work better, and wake up. with a purpose.
Right, sir. Sir, well, we have seen this pandemic has caused a lot of issues. And there might be a phase that people would be switching to entrepreneurship or some means of self-employment now. Because all we can see is that even good school, even the top class MBAs from the IIMs or the ISB, even these people have been losing their job offers and scaling down their level to an average MBA placement. Right. So I would like to know from you that in your space particularly, would I say that into, I won't say that you're a blogger, but you're a storyteller. You actually connect with what's actually happening in life, because when I go to some blogs of somebody else, I'd see that there is a lot of rubbish and there's very less of content that actually matters to us, and that is what is actually required. So I'd want to know that if somebody wants to be self-employed or start entrepreneurship in your space, what recommendations do you have for that person?
The first thing is read a lot, and as much diverse content as you can. There is no way that you can escape it. Second thing is ditch the screen. I mean, most of my work has happened when I have been able to keep my phone away from me.
Right.
So most you might have, if you talk to people who have worked with me at LMTM, you might have known that my phone used to be on silent mode throughout the day.
Right.
And I would give a call back if someone has called me, but otherwise I won't interrupt the work. So the deep focus is one thing which we have ignored a lot, but is very required. So read a lot, work with deep focus and long hours, have patience, there is no escape, and start producing the work that you want to give it to the world. So your first blog is going to be rubbish, your first video is going to be rubbish, but then you have to get going with it.
Right. So I do.
And take feedback. That's most crucial.
Right, sir. So this is my final question to you, because this blog of yours has really changed kind of my perspective towards taking things. Because I have read about productivity a lot, I've read about corporate life ethics a lot, but this blog of yours on 6 short productivity killers. Well, we do, this somewhere down the line I might have heard about them. I've not heard about them together. First of all, keep these things you've really combined really well. I would like you to talk about this blog in particular, what was in mind, and I would like you to state these 6 productivity killers first of all for the people watching you.
To be very candid, it has changed a lot for me also. The first thing is we put too much on the list. Second is we compromise sleep. We feel that, oh, I need to work long hours. I can work in fragments. Deep focus is required, and the people I surround myself with. So if I surround myself with people who are very relaxed and have no purpose in life, I'm going to be less productive for sure. There is no escape around it. I had felt that I have worked with people who were like, oh, let's have a coffee first thing in the morning. And I was like, no,
Right.
Get back to the most crucial work first thing in the morning, and then you can have a coffee when you are tired.
Right, sir.
And not giving time to your family, because then you can have the guilt riding up saying that, oh, I mean, you end up angry. And guilt is the biggest productivity killer that you can ever have.
Right, sir. So I would like to ask from you that you have been a teacher of management education. You have been teaching MBAs. And this is a very crucial phase when I talk about myself also, to the ones seeking employment now. Well, what advice would you give to somebody like me who will be getting into this phase of placement right now, who might might not be getting a placement due to certain circumstances, or would be competing with a lot of people who have been laid off, coming with a lot of experience or a lot of more skills and practical knowledge? So what advice do you have for me right now?
Work on your side hustle. That's it. I mean, believe that there are no fixed jobs, there are no stable jobs in the world right now. So work on your side hustle and make sure that you end up doing what you love few years down the lane.
Right.
You cannot you cannot trust someone else to chop out your career. You cannot do that. You cannot afford to do that.
Right, sir.
So whatever you like doing, whatever you love doing, hang out with people who are doing smart work in that, produce a lot of work.
Right.
And I just wrote about it. It's called 4 ways to take a passion step.
Right.
So there are 4 steps. One of it is identify what you are. So if you're a podcaster, say that I'm a podcaster. It puts a pressure on you to produce more work. Otherwise, you are no longer a podcaster.
Right.
Second is produce a lot of work. You can always see, or you can always rework it. You can always edit it. You can always make changes, but then produce a lot of work. You cannot keep on waiting that the inspiration will come and then I can keep on producing my work. Hang out with a lot of good people and help people.
Right, sir.
And if you do the side hustle right, very soon you will find that you can afford to move full time into it and ditch the job cycle. I mean, you cannot keep running the rat race all your life.
Right.
It's a burden of our past generations that you feel that having a job is the only good thing to do in life. If you don't have a job, then you are a useless guy. People feel that. People make you believe that, oh, like I had heard it a lot of time that, oh, he has left a job, good paying job. I mean, he has gone nuts.
Right.
Or he goes nowhere, maybe he's not working, but it had to make people sit and make them realize that I work from home, that's by choice.
Right.
It's not that I have to do it. So you have to break a lot of social notions on your way when you go and decide to make your own career, which is side hustle and your own thing. So I mean, that's why to say that if you शर्म करोगे तो कर्म फूट जाएंगे. That's what I have heard, that if you feel that no, I have to fit into something that which people are doing, your life is going to be miserable, to be very frank.
Right, sir.
So you will be traveling 2 hours, 3 hours in a day to work 8 hours and then be back frustrated and then blame everyone else that the boss is bad, the world is bad, the transportation is bad, the government is bad. It sucks you out of the passion force.
Right, sir.
So if you need to go into a ditch for 6 months, 1 year, just go. Upskill yourself. Don't be afraid. I mean, all you need is 5, 6, 7, or 8 years of a good career, and then the life is made.
Right, sir.
You don't need to work your ass off for the whole 40 years, 30 years. I mean, because after 4 or 5 years, you will be able to enjoy your work, and then the work won't seem like work.
Right, sir. So, concluding, I'd say that I'd like to thank you a lot for connecting with me, giving me your time.
Yes.
And sir, you have been really an inspiration when it comes about entrepreneurship and following your passion in life. And the value that you've given me through your inputs about the side hustle word that you just mentioned, it has hit me really hard and made me realize that yeah, this is, rather than being fearful about the placement that is coming up or being negative or pessimist about these things, in the meantime, we can do that. We can focus on a side hustle right now and start building those things.
You know, one thing I would like to add, which I have missed earlier, there is one author which is called Robert Fulghum, and he's one of my favorite authors. So he has said one thing, that if your house is on fire, if you have nothing to eat, if your arm is broken, then you have trouble. Everything else is mere inconvenience. So if you are taking time to get a job, it's inconvenient. Yes, it's inconvenient. Don't treat it as a problem. Maybe you are just trying to find the right fit. That's it. Or maybe you need to create the job that you want to do.
Right.
Maybe you want to be a podcaster right now. Maybe you want to have a community which you want to engage on. The job that you want is for you to create. It's your responsibility. It's no one's responsibility. If you trust your boss, then you are the biggest jerk that you will ever meet in your life.
Right.
Don't trust your boss. Don't trust your boss. Just your community is your boss. You are your boss. Your values are your boss. A single guy cannot be your boss. Even if he's not 10x better than you, there's nothing you can learn from him. Just ditch the whole cycle. Just move out. See, no matter what kind of career you want to pursue, for example, if you did a BTech and thought that you would become an engineer, it took you 6 years.
Yeah.
2 years of plus 1, plus 2, and 4 years of the BTech.
Right.
And then you started off. Same with the side hustle. So if you cannot devote 1 year or 2 year into it, then you cannot expect it to reap any rewards. Just ditch your boss, ditch the system, dig your head in, just do the work that you always wanted to do, and the world will be a better place.
Right, sir. So thank you so much, sir, for connecting. And I would really
Pleasure.
want that we stay connected and be in touch. And I learn from you a lot. And to all those watching, just go and read Sir on Mojo of Small Things and tell in your opinions about which article really affected you, which blog really affected you, and what have you learned from him. And if there's anything, I guarantee, if there's anything you want to learn from Sir, he's really helpful and he's really responsive on LinkedIn. Just go and connect with him and he'd be very willing to help you out and take time for you.
Thanks, Anmol. Thanks for
Thank
dropping
you,
in
sir.
a message. Pleasure. Side hustle